This conference will now be recorded.
Wait a second. You drink?
Yeah, I can cut
He's got a drink.
it.
Well, aloha, everybody. And today we have a super special interview that is going to inspire the pants off you because she's probably one of my favorite testimonies that we've had. When people ask me all the time, what's your favorite testimony? And Twila, you are always one of them that I talk about because not only have you successfully lost 270 pounds, right?
Yes.
You also are super encouraging because you are
Yes.
on our groups and you're so positive and like I know I'm going to ask you about cheat days, but I know that you just love the food and you don't feel like you're missing out, do you?
No, I don't miss out on anything. And I don't cheat either.
I know. I was going to ask you, like, how do you feel about cheat days? But we can get to that later. I would
Yeah.
love everybody to know Twyla and I mean, we see who you are now, and
Yeah.
let us know what you were before and just how your journey has changed.
Well, before, and I was 48 at my top weight, and I stayed there. And then I started this journey when I was about 54. So that was about 7 years ago.
What
Um,
caused you to want to change?
well, um, I was 410 pounds, and I had been a diabetic for 24 years. My blood sugars were close to 400. And I had
Wow.
an infected tooth that needed pulled, and the dentist wouldn't pull it because my blood sugars were too high.
Wow.
And I I couldn't get through the day without a nap. I was tired all the time. I wasn't living. I was just surviving.
Yeah.
And life was just really hard. I didn't feel good. Um, it hurt to walk and to sit. Just to do anything was just such an effort.
I
And
remember when you came to visit us, she came to Maui to visit us, and I remember you telling us a story how you didn't even want to go to the store because if you needed to use a bathroom, you couldn't fit in it.
exactly.
It's just
Bathroom. Yeah, it was hard to use restrooms places. I was always afraid of breaking chairs, which I did break some. And it was hard. I mean, the first thing I would do when I walked in a room is there's no chairs for me to fit in. What am I going to do? And I couldn't stand very long because my legs were so
Oh
weak
man.
and tired. And so that really scared me when they said we can't even pull this tooth because you could die.
yeah.
And so I went to my doctor and just said, help. I'm already on so many medications. I guess I'll do Weight Watchers again. And
Yeah.
I had lost weight on Weight Watchers, but then I gained it all back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Can you
so
talk?
then, go ahead.
Sorry, I was say, can you talk about some of the things you had tried previously?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Weight Watchers, South Beach diet. I did the diet through the hospital where you drink shakes for 3 months at 500 calories.
Ouch.
Um, I did the grapefruit diet. I did the cabbage diet. I did every single diet except I didn't get bariatric surgery. I didn't think that was the way to
Mm.
go. And I would lose a little weight, but then I think what happened was I was eating so little,
Hmm.
I became metabolic adapted. And then just
Mm.
my body would slow down. And then I'd start gaining weight just eating, 700 calories.
Yeah.
And
So not only the low calories, but also very low protein, which is a very important part of the metabolic adaptation.
exactly. And so I was doing what I thought I knew was the
Yeah.
right thing to do, but it just, and then I would gain the weight back, and then I would say, well, it doesn't work. Nothing works for me. And I got tired of failing. And I was just afraid of trying because I didn't want to fail anymore. And
Yeah.
and my husband always said, you eat like a bird, and you don't eat enough to gain weight. But I
Hmm.
did. And I just didn't have the proper macros, the proper nutrients. And I was eating way too many carbs, too many fruits and vegetables
So,
and whole grains.
yeah, what were you eating that, even though you were eating like a bird, what were you eating? Because I think that's really important to point out.
I was eating 4 fresh fruits a day,
Mhm.
4 vegetables a day. Whole grain. I ground my own wheat to make my own bread. I was eating protein, but not enough.
Mm.
And I was
Yeah.
eating canola oil because that's what
Mm.
they said was healthy, you know.
Yep.
So low fat, wrong
Yeah.
kinds of fats, and
Yep.
Hey everyone, we are on a little safari here in Africa, and I got a little friend right behind me here, eating some grass and some trees. He's not a carnivore, but if you are, it's great to keep your electrolytes up, and especially when you travel, if you keep your electrolytes up, it really helps. I actually personally find I don't go number 2 as often if I don't bring my electrolytes on along when I travel. I'll go 2-3 days without, but Element is great for travel. It's easy to pack. We really like it. And if you go to drinkelement.com, oh, watch out, slash Keto Maria, you can get a free sample pack with order. So check it out, drinkelement.com slash Keto Maria, and get a free sample pack with any order.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like, I think that's so important because
So many people
we so
put on that.
I saw it this week. This is January 2nd that we're recording, and I went to the grocery store to get some things, and I was just seeing a lot of people struggling, and all they were buying was a bunch of fruit, and I was just like, come on over to my house
Yeah.
because you'll eat good food,
And it'll help you so much more.
yeah. So what does what caused, like, what did you find? How did you change? Did you find keto right away, or?
Okay, my doctor suggested I try. She was doing keto, but she thought it would be she thought I wouldn't do it if she
Oh,
told me keto right away. So she said, "How about we try low carb,
yeah,
100 grams of carbs?" She
100.
wanted me to 100 at the
That's okay.
time. Now this was going from a diabetic diet of
Sure.
325.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
for a couple weeks, I did low carb, no sugar. I got rid of the sugar, got rid of the grains right away. She gave me a book to read, and I read that. I didn't quite agree with everything in the book, but I did start losing weight, and my blood sugars came down under 200. I got the tooth pulled, and then she said, "Okay, let's check into the," because by then I was only eating like 60 grams of carbs. She says,
Yeah,
"I think you could do this ketogenic."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I love that approach that your doctor did that, because I tell a lot of people, if someone would have told me to eat carnivore when I was 16, I wouldn't have tried at all. So how our diets evolve and we can become better, I love that.
yeah, yeah. So then um, I was following keto, but I was only doing, because of the diabetes, I was told we can't eat too much protein. So I was doing about 60 grams and about 100
Yeah.
grams of fat. And I did lose weight at first, but I was losing muscle. I could
Mm,
tell that
yeah,
I was losing muscle. Then I found you guys about 9 months in,
yeah,
and Craig just really encouraged me to know the protein is not going to, cause my blood sugars to go up, because by then my blood sugars, I was off of medicines. I had a normal A1C, a normal, so I had healed a lot of the insulin resistance. So with Craig's encouragement, I was like, okay,
yeah.
let's bump this protein up, lower the fat,
Yep.
and I just saw better results.
That's what I love about
Yeah.
this guy. He's just so eloquent about explaining how the protein works in our body, because people do get scared, and you just explain it in such a way that's so easy
Well,
to
I
understand.
think it would be interesting, a little side note here to talk about that kind of connects the two things here with respect to protein. We talked about the yo-yo dieting earlier, and what was happening there is, all those diets, a lot of those diets, that what they'll end up doing is very low calorie, like you said, but the important piece of that is that it's very low protein. And so what happens is you're going to lose muscle, and whenever you lose muscle, your basal metabolic rate, how many calories you burn all day long, just living and breathing, will start to go down. And so then as you try to increase calories back up again, suddenly you're gaining weight when you really
Yeah.
shouldn't be, because your metabolic rate has been lowered due to low protein,
And
right?
this is like this, I was
Yes.
going to ask you, how do you feel about the whole Ozempic and those weight loss GLP-1s that people
Oh,
are injecting?
yeah. I don't think that's the way to go.
Would you
Um,
have tried it
no.
in your desperation? No.
Yeah.
Good.
No.
Well, it's the
Just like the
it,
bariatric treatment. I wasn't that desperate. Yeah.
No.
yeah, and the GLP ones. The point being made is
50%.
studies have shown 50% or more of the weight loss is muscle. So
Yeah.
again, you kind of end up going back down that yo-yo diet road where now your BMR is going to come down, and when you start eating more again or go off the drug, it's just going to be
Yeah.
worse for you. So yeah, you
Yes.
took the right path, and first of all, you should be very proud of yourself for
Amazing.
you know trying to find a path without surgery, without and finding what works for you.
And we don't judge anybody for
No,
their path.
absolutely.
Sometimes it's an emergency or whatever they have to do. But I just, yes,
Oh, yes.
you're
But
rock
I
hard.
had researched it, and there was too many failures. There was too, I didn't want the um, absorption problems from absorbing
Well,
your foods and
I
your nutrients then.
I've worked with hundreds of people that have gone through a variety of different stomach stapling or whatever it is, a variety of different surgeries. And they tell me that they wish they would have found keto instead because
Mhm.
of that. They're not absorbing
yeah,
nutrients, which is causing their hair to fall out. They can't absorb the protein like they should. They're being told to eat fat-free cheese and whey protein. And I'm like, those are the two things you cannot have. We talk about dairy and things like that, and they're just drinking these shakes and they're not absorbing the nutrients because they can't. They'll never be able to.
Yeah. Well, and having done that 3 month all shake diet through the
No,
hospital,
mhm,
I never
yeah,
wanted to drink shakes again.
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no. And
Well,
again, they have to change their mindset because
yeah,
Exactly.
that's
but that's what I'm pointing at here is I'm not villainizing that. I'm
no.
saying
Yeah.
you kept researching and you kept
Yeah.
looking for answers, and I think that's the thing that's commendable is that you didn't stop, you didn't give up and say, well, this is how I'm gonna be, or it's
Yeah.
my genetics or whatever, that's gonna I can't ever lose this weight. You kept looking for answers, and
Mhm.
that's very commendable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't think I would lose all the weight. I thought I would lose 50, 75 pounds,
Mm,
lower my A1C, but not get off of I never
Mm,
thought I could reverse the diabetes, the
mhm.
yeah.
symptoms, and have normal blood sugars. That's
How
what
long did
blew
it
me.
take?
It took me 6 months.
Wow.
Wow.
And
So
in
let's talk
six
about that.
months,
Yeah. What was the changes in 6 months?
okay, I started out, my A1C was 10. My blood sugars were 400. My triglycerides were 400.
Mm,
Wow.
My HDL was 12. That's
wow.
my
Wow.
good cholesterol. Of course, I had high cholesterol. My blood pressure was high. Um, and and then I worked with my doctor. I went in every month for blood work because I said, if I'm going to do this, I want to be healthy. I want to make sure
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not harming my body any more than what I've already done. And
Yeah.
so we did blood work, and so she lowered me off of my medicines. In 6 months, I had an A1C of 5.4,
Awesome.
and my blood sugars were 100.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My triglycerides were under 100. No more. I think my HDL had come up to 45 at that point. Um, my LDL had come down. Um, I was off of the blood pressure medicines, the cholesterol medicines, the migraine medicines. I started getting off of depression medicines, off the
Nice.
diabetic medicine, but it kept getting better. Okay.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I just kept getting better. Now my triglycerides are 26. My HDL is 80.
Yeah.
Uh,
Awesome.
my A1C is 5.0. My blood
Yeah.
sugars are 70 to 90.
Great.
Beautiful.
So it just kept getting better and better.
Yeah. And I
6 months.
think that's something that is very important point too, is that, so many people look at this as, oh, every year, January, they start going down this path again to lose some weight, and then maybe they fall off a bit, and then they start back up again. If you just stick with it,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
health improvements continue to mount up. It's like you're stacking up these victories in health, and you're getting healthier and healthier,
Or they
and
complain
you
about
just
their
stick with
age.
it.
They're too old or whatever. Because how old were you when all this happened?
I was 54 when I started, and I'm
Yep.
61 now, and I
Yeah.
feel
Awesome.
better than I did. I feel like I did back in my 20s.
Oh, I
That's
see your
great.
posts. I mean, you're always you're out fishing, you're out camping, you're doing all these adventures, which I just love. And then you're making my delicious recipes on your trips,
Yeah,
and you
I just
plan ahead. And that's what I wanted to see. Like in 6 months, I'm guessing you didn't have cheat days at all.
no, I did not. One time, this was 2 months after I started. It was our anniversary, and
Mhm.
we went with my kids, and they said, "Oh, Mom, you can eat just a little bit of this frozen yogurt." So I had like a quarter of a bun with
Hmm.
my chicken, grilled chicken, and I had a quarter of a cup of yogurt.
Hmm.
30, no, 45 minutes later, I got home. My blood sugar was close to 200. I said,
Wow.
I can't do that. I said, I can't do
No,
this.
Yeah.
So I did not cheat. It's
good.
too important to me. This is
Yeah.
life. This is
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
now it's health. And the more I learned from you about how the body works and how food is our nutrients and our fuel, now I
Yeah.
eat to fuel my body and to feel good.
Mm.
But
Exactly.
your pictures make other people encouraged that they're not missing out because you're making delicious
Yeah.
recipes. Like, what
Oh,
did you have for the holidays?
oh, for the holidays. Okay. Um, well, we splurged. We normally
Yeah,
Mm.
don't. We normally don't have this, but to me, this is a splurge.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had baby back ribs.
Oh, we did too.
Oh, so did we.
Baby back
Perfect.
ribs. I
Yeah,
smoked them. We had that. And I have been doing dairy free. So over the
yep.
holidays, a couple times, for New Year's Eve, I made a couple little pepper poppers with just
Yeah.
a
Oh,
little
cute.
bit of cream cheese.
Yep,
And
Nice.
I had the carnivore pizza with
yep.
the cheese and the crust.
Awesome.
That's a splurge to me,
Yeah,
it was delicious. And
yeah.
um,
I love
so
that.
so yeah,
Well,
so treats don't have to be sweet. They can
No.
just
exactly.
be.
And I think too, what it's a testament to is as you get down this journey, into 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you desire those
Your
other
palates.
treats.
Yeah.
Your palate shifts, and
Yes.
it's that a treat becomes, a jalapeno popper, and guess what? That cream cheese now tastes sweet,
Hmm.
Yeah.
without any sweetener in it, and these kind of things because your palate has shifted so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And for my birthday was right before Christmas. So I
I
love
remember.
I love your carnivore Danish.
Oh,
Oh,
nice. Yeah, those are
yeah.
Okay?
great.
With the pork
So
rinds?
yes. And
Yeah.
so I
Uh,
made two, but mine are only a half of a serving. But
Oh,
on my
mm,
birthday and then for New Year's Day,
yeah.
I ate a carnivore Danish,
Love it.
and
oh, I love
along with some of my smoked jerky. And I thought, "Oh, this is so good."
Yeah.
it.
That's what I want
That's
people to.
perfect.
Why I'm talking about food is because I don't want people to think that you're just eating chicken breasts and broccoli.
No,
You're eating really delicious food. And I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I'm missing out at all.
no, I don't. And at Christmas, I have 11 people here. I'm the
Hmm.
only one that does keto. My husband does low carb, and he's
Yeah.
eating a lot more keto foods.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't make all my grown adult kids eat keto. So I
Yeah.
made food for them, but I also made keto food.
Yeah.
And they
Hmm.
did eat that too, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything,
No.
you
No.
Yeah,
know.
definitely not.
Yeah.
So, that was your journey across 6 months and all the improvements you've seen. So the whole arc of it now. So how many years has it been since you started? And where is your journey now as far as the weight loss, the health improvements, and all of that?
Okay. And this in April, early April, it'll be 7 years.
Nice.
Wow.
Awesome.
7
Yeah.
years.
Mhm.
Um, I've lost 270. I did have 2 times in my maintenance where, because I kept lowering my goal.
Mm,
At
Yep.
first I
sure.
said, oh, get under 300 and maybe 250,
Yep.
200, 170, 140. When I hit 140, I thought, okay, I'll just try to maintain because I've never
Yeah.
maintained in my life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it'll be going on 2 years of maintaining.
Love
But
it.
I
Amazing.
did allow extra nuts in my
Mhm.
maintenance
Mhm.
and dairy.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we went through a couple really crisis.
Mm,
Not my immediate family, but some extended family. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
sorry.
didn't fall off. I stayed keto, but I think the additional stress and just eating just a little bit more, even though
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
track,
Yep.
Yeah.
I did gain about 12 pounds back.
Mhm.
So in October, early October, I said, okay, I'm going back to fat loss macros, and I'm going to throw in 2 protein sparing modifying fast days a week. And within about 2 months, that 12 pounds was off.
Love it.
And
Good.
and so I'm still working on body composition.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so right
You
now, what
you had strength training, right? And you've started adding more strength training and stuff, right?
I've been strength training for 5 years, but I've
Oh wow.
continued to do more and more. 2
Awesome.
years ago, I added in yoga because, it was kind of hard to get down on the
Yeah.
floor to do yoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do
Understood.
yoga, I do strength training. So I continue to build muscle. Um, my health, and I did have some issues. I needed some stints about a year after
Mhm.
I went keto
Yeah.
from being
Mm,
diabetic all those years, but my
Mhm.
heart health is excellent. The doctor just
Good.
can't
awesome.
argue
Yeah.
with. So I'm still off all the medicines.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Awesome.
do like though that you brought up the dairy and nuts thing. I was kind of, I just want to say that because when people start the ketogenic diet, a lot of times they snack on cheese and nuts because it's easy. But
yeah,
that's exactly what I've been telling people to stay away from for a very long time because it it just stops weight loss. And I remember when you were in Maui,
yeah,
you're like, I just got to stop the cheese for a little bit and get back down. And also about weighing, because the scale doesn't say everything, but it was easy to catch that 12 pounds because you were weighing yourself.
Well, that's what I was
I
gonna say is
was.
that you can catch some creep, and
Yeah.
that a lot of people don't get into that trap where they're not paying attention. Things
Yeah,
will start to creep back up, and if you don't catch it like you did and
Bella's
reverse
saying
it
hello.
and get back to where you want to be, that can be a problem. Bella's trying to
She's
say hi,
trying to
everyone.
jump up
hi,
here.
Ella.
Sneaky.
Yes, and that's why I had a 5 pound, and I know when I quit losing and started maintaining, I went up about 4 pounds, and I was like, okay, that's
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
But then you do another 3 or 4, and then when I was gone all summer, I don't have a scales with me, so
Okay.
Mm,
I
Yeah.
was I had 4 or 5 months with no scales, and when I got home, I was like, nope,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Well,
going back.
but I have
Yeah.
so many people that are so afraid of the scale. Were you afraid of the scale in the past and now you're okay with it, or was it?
Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
at first, I only weighed once a month.
Mm,
Um,
Hmm.
and I did that for about 2 years. And then I did once a week. And I was afraid of the scales. And then when I did protein sparing modified, let's see, that was about year 4. I had
Hmm.
stall because I had a year and a half stall in there where I
mm.
Yeah.
lost no weight, and I
Yeah. Let's
just
talk
kept
about that.
Let's
eating.
talk about that.
Yeah, because I think that's important to talk about too, because so many people, oh, I didn't lose any weight for 2 weeks now,
They'll
and
quit.
so let's talk about the stall. So you were still keto, right? But
I was
a year
still
and a half,
keto.
and how
I
much had
still
you
track.
lost at that point?
At that point, I had lost, let's see, 200. No,
Oh.
the first stall was at 175,
Hmm.
and I
Okay, yeah,
stalled. And so I had lost 175, and I stalled for a year and a half. And
that's so
but
interesting.
I lost inches. I went down a
Yeah.
size and a half. So I
Hmm.
weighed once a week. but I started, one of your moderators said, Twila, you ought to take measurements. I was afraid of measurements. So I
Yeah.
started taking measurements,
Good.
and I saw the measurements going down.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that went down. So I thought, okay, I'll just keep going. I'll
Yep.
just keep going. I would tweak a little bit, a little more leaner
Like what?
proteins.
Oh,
Sure.
Well, like maybe I was doing a little more sausage at that point. I was eating more
were you
sausage.
dairy free?
No, I was not dairy free. But I was doing like some sausage and more chicken thighs, maybe fattier
Mhm.
cuts of beef. So I said, okay, I'm going to do leaner ones. So I went to
Yeah.
chicken
Yeah.
breast and turkey breast and leaner cuts of beef and
Yeah.
the pork tenderloin. And I just kind of, just kind of tweaked my diet. I still didn't lose weight, but I was losing inches. So then at that point, and then
Yeah.
I lowered that fat. I brought the fat I was
Yep.
about at 90. So I came down to about 80, 75 grams. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so then all of a sudden, after a year and a half, I started losing again. So then I lost for a while. I got to 230 pounds I had lost. And then I stalled again.
Wow.
And then I
Yeah.
actually went up 7 pounds. And I didn't like
Mm.
that. So another one of your moderators said, Twila, you need to try protein sparing. And I was like, oh, but,
Mhm.
and then she also suggested, why don't you weigh every day to see what foods are making you bounce up and what foods
Yeah.
are
Sure.
not. So that actually desensitized me from the scale by doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay attention to like I'm going down, except maybe every couple of weeks. I'd say, okay, oh, hey, I went down a few pounds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used that daily weight. So then through protein sparing modified fast, I did that for a year and I lost another
Nice.
45 pounds.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think what's really important about that, two things that just really stick out to me. Number one is that's so similar to Tyler Cartwright's journey,
Which we have on
who
here.
we've also posted on our channel. He lost like 100 pounds and had a year and a half stall. Didn't change anything. He was just kept doing his thing and suddenly started losing weight again, lost another 100, I think. And so it's really interesting to me that there's something the body needs to go through sometimes. Like you go
Yeah.
through this journey and you're losing weight and you get to this point and your body maybe has to do some repairs or some, whatever it is. But the very important thing is you got to stick with it and
Yes.
make
It,
adjustments.
yeah.
So
Yes.
as your body gets smaller, you need to make adjustments in the diet too,
Yeah.
as this journey happens. And I think that's what you did so well.
And I love how you talked about the scale. Every day it's going to shift, and it's not that you gained a few pounds overnight. It's that,
Yeah.
whoa, I retained a lot of water. It does not like that dairy. It doesn't like the cheese. It doesn't like the whatever you're eating. And then you're like, I'm going to stay away from that for now. And then
Yeah.
that's what I tell people. Like, you kind of tell if you are, maybe you don't have
Eating foods your body agrees with.
yeah, maybe you don't have an external sign, or your gut hurts, or you have a rash that shows up, but the scale can tell you a lot about your body's
Sensitivities.
not really loving dairy right now. So let's cut
Well,
that
and
out.
that's where my body told me too many eggs. I have a
Ah,
sensitivity
Yeah,
to eggs. So too many
sure.
eggs
yeah,
will do it too. So then I
Mm.
started saying, okay, well, let's, maybe eggs this day and for a couple days don't do eggs and then I'll do some more eggs. And the same thing with dairy,
yeah,
and I dairy and tomato sauce together for me, like for Italian things,
yeah,
Yeah.
that will bump me up about 2-3 pounds. And so
yeah,
I
Hmm.
just don't have it very often. And
yeah.
Yeah, you keep it for a treat, like you
Uh-huh.
yeah,
said, maybe
keep
over
it
the
for a
holidays.
treat. And yeah.
Exactly.
But when you came to visit us in Maui, we also discussed skin removal, if you don't mind us talking about that,
No, that's
and
fine.
how you're just not, because you said it's your war wounds. And that's what
Mm.
I was like, man, I love Twila. More and more every day I meet her, like, because they were just, there was a little boy that must have commented the day before or something. You're like, those are my war wounds. And you were so proud of them. And you decided to not get skin removal surgery.
Yeah, I have I've got very defined muscles in my arms, but then I have really loose baggy skins on my upper arms, and then from my waist to my hips I have a lot of loose hanging skin. It still has
Mm.
some fat in it, and on my upper thigh, very upper thighs. um i looked I looked into it, and I don't know, there's risk. One of
Oh
the
Yeah.
yeah.
risks I didn't like is, since I was diabetic, and
Mm.
for me to get skin removal, they are going to have to liposuction.
Move a lot of fat.
You remove a lot of that fat. There's
Yeah.
less
That's a
fat for
really
the
good point.
glucose to go into, and a lot of people go back to becoming diabetic
So
Well,
resistant.
it's
Yeah,
because you
you're
don't
gonna
have
instead.
if you have less fat
your
cells on your
personal fat
body,
threshold goes
personal
down
fat threshold goes down,
Yep,
meaning you will, as you gain weight, you'll become diabetic much quicker
because you don't have as many
because you
fat
don't have
cells.
as
exactly.
much room to put it. So that's a really good point.
So
Yeah.
that, and then I don't want to recuperate. I
No.
feel too
Yeah,
good all the time, and
yeah.
it shows me
You
what
look
I've been
amazing.
through.
You look
So
amazing. Yeah, no, 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 no. You look amazing. And,
yeah.
also like the scars. I talked
Yeah,
to a surgeon. He's like, you really have to weigh the benefits because the scars, they do not look
exactly.
good. So a
Well,
lot of
Hang in
times
there
the excess skin looks better.
in the scars. Yeah, sometimes.
yes, and that's what I had a lady who showed me her skin removal, and
Yeah.
I was like, no, 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 this looks better than that does. So I'm like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Most of the time it's
Sure. Yeah.
covered up.
Yeah.
And actually, when I go to Florida and I'm in a swimsuit and people see some hanging skin, they go, she must have lost weight. And they ask
Yeah.
me
And they
about it.
want your
Yeah.
story.
Exactly.
And you
It's your
could tell
battle
them
work.
your
Exactly.
story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
your story.
And you want to tell them your story because now you are a certified keto coach of ours, aren't you?
yes, I am.
Yeah. And you are one of the most inspiring people. Like when I have someone in a situation, I'm just like, Twila is going to be your girl because she's just not just a knowledgeable person, she also has such a she's going to cheer you through the whole way.
And she's been through it.
Yeah.
Been through it all.
Yep.
All the diets, all everything.
The
It's
struggles.
yeah, definitely.
So do you want to
Yeah.
maybe say a little bit about your journey with why you wanted to become a coach?
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of cheerleaders. I didn't have a lot of cheerleaders in I had two cheerleaders. It was my grandmother and a great aunt,
Oh.
and they passed away.
Mm.
But I didn't have a lot of people didn't tell me that, oh, you're never going to lose this. You just overeat, and you're just not meant to be healthy or thinner. And so when I started and I'm an encourager by
Yes,
nature.
Yeah.
I can
And
tell.
so when I started doing it, I thought, if I would have had somebody to say, this is possible, and that's
Mhm.
what I want to do for other people. So I try to share my journey and the knowledge that I've learned through you guys
Mm.
with others to say, hey, you can do
Yeah.
this. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is
Mm.
possible. So
Mhm.
I was helping so many people, and we're retired now, and
Yeah.
I still help a lot of people. And I thought,
Yeah.
if I became a certified coach, I can help even more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because everybody needs it, and people need to know that it's possible. You can weigh 400 pounds, you can be diabetic, you can have all these health issues, but you can turn it around. You
Yeah.
don't have
Or
to
be
be
60 years
young.
old, or all these things that people
They're
put up
excuses.
as excuses or hurdles for
Yeah.
themselves, and you've conquered them all.
But I love how like you just stuck with it. I mean, that whole stall thing, this is when I see
Yeah.
people, why do I even try?
They give up, or they
And they
just
give
go
up.
back, and
But
it's so important to
you
stick with
still
it.
felt amazing, right? Like that's I
Oh,
want people to,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I still felt amazing. And I
Yeah.
and I told myself, okay, if this is where the weight stops, I feel good, I'm just going to keep going, because that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to feel good, to
Yeah.
run after my grandson, to be able to
Yeah.
keep up with my adult kids when they say, let's go for a walk, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always sat on the sidelines.
Oh,
Now I can
Yeah.
be out there. I can enjoy life. I can
yeah.
do stuff. And when my grandson gets old enough to go on the Ferris wheel, I can fit in the Ferris wheel.
Oh,
That's
so
awesome.
Because before I couldn't.
Yeah.
what do your kids say about all this?
Yeah.
At first they were a little worried. I mean,
Yeah.
at first they were like, okay, and then they're like, well, Mom, this seems kind of extreme. But as
Yeah.
they saw me getting healthier,
Yep.
Yeah.
and they knew how much I struggled and how much I tried.
Yeah.
And once they saw that I was healthy and my blood work is better
Yeah.
than some of their blood work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they were
Can't
like,
deny that.
okay, Mom. Okay, Mom.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
But
tell
that,
them, not everybody, you don't have to do this. You don't have what I have
Yeah.
to do, but they've learned to look at ingredients. They
yeah.
have learned to eat less carbs,
Yeah.
not to eat as much
Baby
sugar.
step.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially
So,
passing that
little
on to the
improvements.
children instead of, these parents that just give their children all of the candy and all the things, and
Thinking
then
there's nothing
they
wrong with it.
turn to be 18 and they're a sugar addict, so like you gave them that education to not have that happen.
yes. And, that it's still their choice what they want to do. But just like for
That's
our
right.
Christmas, my one son brought some cookies and I made a little bit of a dessert. It was a lower sugar, lower
Yeah.
carb one,
Mhm.
but we had tons of vegetables and meat
Mhm.
Yeah.
and healthy stuff, healthy foods that
Definitely.
they could
Yeah.
eat. And they were
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I
awesome.
find it interesting though that they were worried at first, because I think we all have experienced that. People watching this too, maybe they can comment about it, but we all have had family members or friends that were worried, like they didn't
yeah.
want us to change because they were afraid we were going to become somebody different, but they didn't realize we were going to become somebody better.
Well, and I think it's also the stigma that's been put on by the media of keto, like it's
Oh
this
yeah.
crazy extreme thing, and it's just eating meat and low carb vegetables. Why is that extreme?
Yeah. And that's what a couple of my sons said. When they realized what I was eating, they were like, "Oh, well, this is just real food, Mom." And I'm like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
"Yes, it's real food. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with eating real food."
The word keto has gotten a bad rap, or
Definitely.
people have changed it, but we have been, even you've been doing it 7 years, we've been doing it 27 for me in
And
March.
and this is why it's so important to have more people like you out there as a coach, spreading the word that this is
Yes.
healthy and showing by example.
Mhm.
That's why I think it's so great that you're now a certified coach with us.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Say where they
tell
can find you.
everybody about your Facebook group and everything? We'll put the links below too, but
Yeah.
tell them where they can find you.
Okay. I not quite have everything, but I do have a Facebook group. It's called Living Keto with Twila. Because I
Nice.
wanted
Perfect.
people to know this isn't just starting keto. Yes, I
Yeah.
can help you get started. I can
Yeah.
help you with get the right macros and help you find foods that you like and help you meal prep and plan. And I'm really good at prepping and planning ahead
Yes, you
Just
and
be
are.
it.
tracking and I can help you do that. But I want to teach you how to live keto,
Mhm.
how you make it a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Love
So
that.
I have a Facebook group called Living Keto with Twila.
Awesome.
And I have an Instagram, but I'm just kind of dabbling
Sure.
in that.
Well, you can just share it whenever it's
Whenever you're ready,
and
we'll add 'em.
I'll add it to the video here.
We'll
as
add the
links,
links
so.
so everyone can find you.
I can share it. I'm just I had to get through December and
Yeah,
having all my kids and
understood.
stuff. So I'm going to be working on more of that now. But
Perfect.
It is hard to put yourself out there, and I just want to thank you, because it's not always easy to put your life and your struggles out there, and for you to share that with all of us is really generous and kind, so I want to thank you for that.
Well, I do want to say about your coaching program.
Wow.
I was blown away.
Mhm.
I was blown away with the content. And Craig and Maria, you did an awesome job of breaking it into little chunks
Yeah.
and in using terminology and words that it was easy to understand.
Thank you.
And that you could watch a little bit and say, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I really, really love that, that you continue to learn and dig into the studies and the knowledge and so much. I mean, I knew a lot, but oh my gosh, did I learn a lot.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much.
We're
And
always adding more to it every
Yeah,
day.
and what I really like too is the notes feature. So on any
Yes.
video, you can add some notes, and then you can go back later and be like, I remember that note, and you look up your note, and boom, you're right back at the video, and you can watch it again because you get lifetime access
Exactly.
to the
But this
program.
is
so-
why
Go ahead.
I was going to say this is why we did it in those little sections, because
Yeah.
when I was in college and looking at a syllabus, I felt overwhelmed at times. Like, how am I going to accomplish all of this?
Yes.
And I didn't like that feeling, and I didn't want to put that feeling on anybody, any of our coaches. So working with Craig on how to design it, he's just a master at that. So thanks.
And it's easy to go back and find stuff the way you did it in the little it's easy because I remembered something and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And so I could just go back and scroll and just find it and watch it again. And
That's
so
great.
it was absolutely worth. In fact, I have several people want to talk to me some more and say, I would like to be a coach. Do you think this is
that's
worth
awesome.
it? And the support that that you give your coaches then, and all the tools, I just was blown away. And so yes, I have
Thank
a
you.
couple more people who are wanting to
Awesome.
jump in this next year because
we need little soldiers to keep spreading the
More
word.
and more.
Exactly. So
Well, Twila, we can't thank you enough for doing this.
Yes.
I mean, I consider you a friend.
Yes.
You've been to both of our houses, our condo and our house.
yeah.
And it's always been a pleasure to hang out with you and get to know you. And just being able to share your story with all of our followers, I think is going to be so inspirational for everyone.
And you're just such a joy to be around. Your joy spreads. So I just thank you for being such a lovely human in this world.
Well, thank you. I consider you. In fact, my son says you always talk about Craig and Maria like they're your friends, and I go, they are my friends.
You have our number.
Family
You can text
now.
us.
Exactly. I said I have their phone numbers. Yes, we are friends.
Definitely.
We are.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yay. When I was 16 years old, I was diagnosed with PCOS, acid reflux, depression, and IBS. Instead of taking those prescription drugs, I decided to change my life with food. Yes, food healed me, and it's healed so many of my clients over the past 20 years of working with people. If you are interested in transforming your life, check out ketomaria.com. I'd be honored to help you.